Have you ever had a moment in your life where you wanted to power up due to excessive emotions like rage? Did you want to shout with your soul while causing an aura of explosion all around you? Did you wish that you started to glow brightly and the sight of you is enough to cause fear in your enemies? Well then, my fellow legends, let me take you to the second character of the Nerfed Me series, Son Gohan. From one of the oldest anime that paved the way for power-ups, Dragon Ball. I'm pretty sure everyone has been waiting for this one, and a lot of people knows that you gotta get this one in, right? So here we go. Now before we go deep into this, I acknowledge the existence of the new Dragon Ball Super, where this nerf has been addressed to a certain extent. We all know it. But this theory concentrates the necessary difference had no current Super series was intended. Because, come on guys, it's been quite a while. Also, if you would like to talk and hang out with me on all things anime related, make sure to join my Discord, follow me on Insta and Twitter to see what I'm doing on the daily, so, yeah, also get that in. Whew, so, let's get to it! Oh, also had a crack. Anyways, when talking Dragon Ball, we boomers back in the days would often relate to the anime Dragon Ball Z. Why? Well, it was the only thing that was shown on television. It was like waking up at 7:25 AM in the morning, quickly brushing your teeth, get some cereal and milk, and you were on that couch watching for the next solo 30 minutes to an hour. For the ones that remembers, we instantly get a few quick episodes to introduce main protagonists like Goku, Krillin, Master Roshi, and co. We also see a standoffish Piccolo who we know ain't really on talking terms with everyone. Right? He's pretty much of a loner. And then we get to introduce a very little cute boy named Gohan. And just for a few off-handed side notes here, Gohan is actually Goku's adoptive grandfather's name. Goku decided to honor him by naming his son after his grandpa who passed away due to Goku's fit of rage as a baby transformed ape. So if you didn't know that, you know, and Gohan also is seen wearing a hat that has the 4-star Dragon Ball that was also the keepsake of his grandfather. It was also how Goku and Bulma met in the initial storyline of Dragon Ball, but that's, you know, a video for a different time. Now, a lot of viewers back in the days didn't have access to the manga, and so they wouldn't know what kind of backstories Dragon Ball already have. But we could already establish that everyone was a fighter. Goku being the main character here obviously means that he was the strongest. But he had already spoke to Master Roshi, who said it was a waste not to train his 4-year-old son Gohan as he thinks he has so much potential. I mean, like, this is literally the first few episodes. It's so peaceful, right? And you see Gohan, he's just like, so cute! Anyways, the little cute Gohan is obviously carefree and an ordinary boy here. Yeah, he's cute, cuddly, and well, kind of just want to squeeze his cheeks. Like, ordinary. But immediately we get put into a scene where an alien fighter named Raditz, hailing from a race of Saiyans, claiming to be the older brother of Goku. Raditz states his disappointment at how weak the whole planet is and that Kakarot, aka Goku, should have conquered this ages ago. But to his dismay, Goku said he lost his memory, have no idea about what a Saiyan is, and that he fights to protect Earth. Raditz obviously beats him up and kidnaps Gohan, stating that if he wants Gohan back, he has to kill 100 Earthlings within a day. Kind of a whack job if you know what I mean. We then proceed to a team up between Goku and the son of Piccolo, and they combine their efforts to defeat Raditz. In the whole fight, Raditz wiped the floor with them. Goku was surprised at just how much of a gap there was. Piccolo's lost one of his arms and his special beam cannon was dodged at the last second, barely scraping off the armor from Raditz. Both were in despair and they wondered just what kind of beast Raditz was. At this point of time, Goku was beaten up so badly that he was having his body crushed by Raditz. Until then. A very angry Gohan jumps out of the pod that he was trapped within and flew at Raditz with a raging headbutt into the solar plexus. He shouts, "Don't hurt my daddy!" Like, damn, that's so badass and cute at the same time. I don't know which one he was, but you can comment on which one it is. Raditz was very surprised as Gohan's power level was rising into the upwards of 1300, which was more than Raditz at 1200. By the way, Raditz's power level was a hot topic back in the day because some claim to be 1500, some at 1300, but we stick with Nappa's statement. Raditz was comparable to a Cyberman, so there you go. On to the more important part, Gohan, who got 1307 on the power level on Raditz's scouter, got the headbutt in, heavy damage was inflicted, but then his power level dropped down to 1, having exerted all of his strength in that one emotional attack. From this part, we can tell that Gohan has the potential to become one of the strongest fighters in the Dragon Ball universe. Moving forward with the storyline, Goku had to sacrifice himself to be pieced together with Raditz, like, especially being canon, pretty OP move. It was created just to, get it done with Goku, but Raditz was the extra cake. Goku then moves on to train with King Kai in order to prepare for the oncoming of Nappa and Vegeta. Piccolo at this stage of the time saw the potential within Gohan and took him away for his isolated training. Obviously against the wishes of everyone else, but everyone else was also pretty scared of Piccolo as due to the fact that he was still bad in their eyes. Tournament arc, cough cough, Piccolo is still a villain if you didn't know. Gohan obviously will go on to get his foundations trained by Piccolo, and he even throws out another emotional attack using Masenko, Piccolo's move. I mean, like, that was cool. Nappa at the time overwhelmed the forces of the Z Fighters of the Earth, like, he wiped everyone. Masenko, which also stands for Light Magic Flash, or in pure kanji translation, Demonic Shining Light Blast. Sounds absolutely amazing, right? I freaking love this part when I saw Gohan use it, as it signifies that his first ever teacher is Piccolo. And that for the first time of the series, we see a different path to the signature of Kamehameha. Gohan will also go on to aid the battle against Vegeta and go into his Ape mode to eventually, get Vegeta out of here, out of Earth. During the invasion from Vegeta and Nappa, it's also really scary as a point where Dragon Ball started evolving. Right, they started evolving from higher power levels to even more existential crisis coming into their universe. The biggest thing is that there were a huge amount of gap difference in fights and everything else that there ever was that we've ever experienced in Dragon Ball. Like, it's so huge that people who knew the OG manga of Dragon Ball could not comprehend just at how much of a danger there was. The biggest part, of course, is where we thought Nappa was superb. He was just such a big man that he was crushing everyone. But then when Vegeta came into the scene and destroyed Nappa, we lost our mind. We're like, all the Z Fighters are pretty much done just because of Nappa, and now Vegeta's even more scarier than Nappa. What's going to happen? Everyone's going to die. That's all we were thinking. From this point onwards, we get a lot more focus on Gohan as he is seen with Krillin in the Frieza arc. Gohan goes on to get his potential unlocked by the Elder of Namek clan and becomes pretty awesome. But at this stage of the time, it still wasn't enough to prove he was strong enough just yet, because obviously this was when the turning point from villain to hero for Vegeta starts. And look, the unlocking of the Super Saiyan from Goku, like, nothing was gonna sideline that. That was, everyone needed it. OG viewers will now probably relive the memory of Goku going pure badass. Every punch, kick, Ki blast with Frieza and ultimately putting him down. That pure original rage of loss from the activation of only the purest of Super Saiyan. Legend has been born. Moving forward in time, we saw a peaceful Gohan. One that had played, studied, one that was scared of the return of Frieza, one that was still a kid at heart. One that was ultimately weaker than what we saw after having his potentials unlocked. He had shown stagnation. He did not have a goal until fear was struck into him by the future Trunks. And even with all the interruptions Chi-Chi had and the little he had to offer before the coming of the android, he was pretty much a silent character with no hope of putting up a fight. Android 19 and 20, aka Dr. Gero, an engineer from the old Ribbon Army, who is also the creator of all the androids, was shown to be a time variant due to the visit by future Trunks. They were powerful enough to threaten everyone, including Vegeta in his freshly unlocked Super Saiyan mode. At this point in time, you'll also be no contest for Android 17 and 18 because even in his adult form, he was defeated by them, so I'm gonna skip to where the Cell game starts. Like, just get in there. Gohan trains in the hyperbolic chamber with Goku and goes through massive transformations. He comes out having achieved his Super Saiyan and maintains it without worries. Goku decided that in the chamber, Gohan had tapped inside his potential and had gotten so strong that Goku wasn't confident in beating him. Moreover, it was then revealed at the finale, Gohan's Field of Rage finally snapped when Android 16 was crushed by Cell, and that triggered his inner rage to come out in full. Now, for the people that think they have seen emotional and powerful anime moments, you will not understand the emotional scene of the power-up Gohan had in that scene. I'm gonna quote a few characters right now, like this is not 100%, but it is pretty much there, so here we go. Vegeta. It's unreal! Trunks. So this is it, huh? Piccolo. Gohan is releasing his energy! Krillin. Go Gohan! Goku. Attaboy Gohan. Cell. So, that's it, huh? Gohan. Stop it! Tell them to stop it! Cell. That's it. Let it all go. Gohan. Ah! Even the narrator concludes the episode with, "We've always known Gohan's inner potential like an explosion. He always vanishes with the moment and cannot be controlled until now. At last, the beastly power has been harnessed. Gohan has awoken." And this, coupled with the anime music, that music, which you all need to look up, is called Gohan's Anger. Alright, you need to go and search it. That moment was defining. It was crazy. Every normal viewer, any small boy like myself back then, was just so hyped and excited. Every one of us was screaming with our soul. So if you haven't seen it, it is time to go back there, alright? You have to. The emotional build-up, the sacrifices, the future of all mankind relying on the shoulders of a young Gohan finally fighting for real. Whew! I got way too emotional when writing this, so at this stage of the script, so I had to, take a little bit of a break. Getting back on track, after the conclusion of the Cell Saga, Gohan goes back into his peace mode and becomes the great Saiyaman. Obviously, he fools around and tries to live a normal life due to his mom, Chi-Chi, finally saying that he needs to live like a normal kid. We don't really get to see Gohan until he gets to fight the Burro, where we can tell, in the future, Gohan is rusty, his battle senses are dull, and he had become weaker than his previous younger self. Both Goku and Vegeta was greatly disappointed by this, as Goku had hoped that Gohan kept on training, and Vegeta wanted to fight the stronger Gohan, and he has already mastered his Super Saiyan 2 form. Moving forward, Gohan gets picked up by King Kai and then trains with the Z Sword, Zeta Sword, if you're from the manga era, and trying to unlock his potential and avenge the death from Earth. However, this sword eventually gets broken by Goku. Obviously, Goku got to do Goku things, but out comes old Kai, aka the Supreme Shin or the Supreme Kai, the Lords of Lords, as one of the highest level deities at that point of time. The Supreme Kai then states that he is grateful to being let out of the sword and that he is able to unlock all of the hidden potential from Gohan by performing a long ceremony as thanks. Gohan obviously agrees to this, but also don't believe it at the same time, as the Supreme Kai behaves like a drunken Master Roshi. Like, he was pretty crazy. But he waits it out. He waits until everything is finally completed and out comes the new form, Mystic Gohan. I'm sure everyone by now all know just how powerful Mystic Gohan was, because he was able to easily defeat Majin Buu on his return to Earth. However, after the brief few chapters worth of victory, he gets absorbed by Majin Buu and that was it. Come on! We didn't even see any other contributions coming out from him. Like, that is sickening, as the story was messing with the letter Z to begin with, The series is called Dragon Ball Z, bro, Dragon Ball, like Dragon Ball Z. So that had significant meaning. Fan theories was all there, but right after unlocking all that latent potential, he was just done and dusted. Like, that was highway robbery for Gohan. Obviously, after the Majin Buu series, and for the longest time again, Gohan remained weak. He went back to studies again, and he stuck to it. A character nerf that lasted for the ages until Dragon Ball Super finally came out. And yes, you should go and watch Dragon Ball Super because it is just beautiful, and even more so, there are power-ups there. It's finally the real deal that he sorely deserves. Had we focused more on the fact that Gohan should have become a much more powerful fighter and someone that has maintained his training from the start, we would not have been that disappointed in his following days. Like, we would have been just fine in the beginning. That was how we're gonna think about it. Therefore, let's get to it. Really hardcore. Let's go straight into it. To begin with, the unnerved part of Gohan, we have to acknowledge some straight up facts here. Goku is a terrible teacher at young because he doesn't really know common sense. A trait that is pretty much the same for all main protagonists, all anime. So, you know, you can do any comparison to everyone else. So the early days of ages 0 to 4 should be trained by Master Roshi, as he was the teacher for Goku. If we follow the same script with Raditz, Piccolo will be the next one to train him to his full force, as Piccolo is pretty brutal back in the days. He did leave Gohan in the wild on his own to look out for himself when, you know, Gohan wasn't even trained, doesn't even know how to fly or jump or do anything else. But a dedicated Piccolo with nothing holding back could have forced Gohan to even greater heights. We also need to note, Gohan is of a mixed lineage, half Saiyan, half human. We always say that the mixing of heritage also has one of the greatest potentials to unlock additional latent abilities. Imagine the transformation he will be able to achieve earlier on. Maybe even a pseudo Super Saiyan form, or something that's of equal caliber to the Kaioken from Goku. Like, it would be insane. The story would also go to Namek, where his potential is further unlocked by the Elder of the Namek, and the constant fights and with Frieza's army, Ginyu Force. Gohan will be borderlining the potential to awaken his own power due to almost constantly being pushed to the edge of death, and also unleashing his inner rage at the loss of Krillin during the confrontation with Frieza. Imagine all the possibilities that would have had at the point of story. We can also conclude that by then Gohan will probably be powerful enough to put up more of a fight against Frieza, but not enough for him to be a Super Saiyan level and put Frieza into his place. Like, we can acknowledge that. Let's keep on moving into the conclusion of the Frieza saga, where Gohan continues his training, as he will have the courage to confront his mom Chi-Chi and tell her, look, I don't want to study, I need to also, you know, be able to protect everyone. He will ultimately try to achieve his Super Saiyan level due to the inspiration of Goku. This will further continue down the track with the appearance of Trunks from the future, with the foreshadowing of the oncoming androids. Trunks probably wouldn't even need to come in early, because by then Gohan would have already achieved his own Super Saiyan level and destroyed Frieza and his dad. Like, that is just a real possibility. Furthermore, he will also impact on the future of the side story, Future Trunks, where Gohan was the only remaining Z fighter with that fight with Trunks, and that he was the one that taught Trunks how to fight. Will he lose in that storyline? Maybe, as for the story sense, or even because of the oncoming was too fast and Gohan's preparation was not enough for the androids, but that is a potential story for the future telling. That's another fan theory that we can go on with and come back to. Coming back into the Android and Cell saga, Gohan would train in the Hyperbolic Chamber of Time and probably learn how to control his Super Saiyan 2 form. But more than that, I want to highlight that there exists way too many Dragon Ball characters that was almost useless in the Android/Cell saga. Like, they were all powered down and not helpful against the androids and Cell. They might as well be dirty pieces of paper that has yet to go into the garbage bin. Like, come on. Most of them had really good beginning intro and background. I'm also going to argue that at the time there was anyone that could give Gohan the ultimate power-up, it would be Piccolo. Why, you might ask? The reason is simple. Out of all characters in Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo has one of the greatest insight and creativity in tactics than all the fighters out there. Sure, this was not highlighted because Goku and Vegeta outstrips him by far, but we gotta remember Piccolo is a combination of characters that he has fused with, such as Kami, the all-good version of King Piccolo, and Nail. He has the powers to conjure clothes and weapons. He has a psionic where he can use telepathy to communicate with other people. He can read minds, detect really far, and even disable all electronics when he thinks there's too much social media. Looking at all of you. By the way, if you do like my content, make sure to also join me on twitch.tv/emperor_zk for some awesome gameplays. Thank you. Moving on. Piccolo was Gohan's official teacher, and his insights are very profound. Therefore, if we explore the path of mystic arts, no, Dr. Strange, you do not belong in this dimension, okay? Magic and all, forms, or new powers could be picked up by Gohan. If you're up to date with the latest manga, you will also be familiar with a lot of magic powers is now making a comeback, elements that was missed in the old series, I'm afraid. Imagine a Gohan that could control his Super Saiyan 2 form. His mystic art form never stopped training and at the same time study and live a double life. I mean, by this time Gohan will probably be crowned as the Asian version of Superman, or the Saiyan version of Superman, just to be in fact because they're all alien race, right? Just whack on those glasses and keep on studying and you should be all sweet. Bag yourself a Lewis Lane. Anyway, that's the video. By now we advance to the final piece of the Un-Nerf Me. This theory will keep on rolling, where Mystic Super Saiyan 2 Gohan of the future. He will have his fight with Aputure and most likely win. But that doesn't stop him from having a confrontation with Majin Buu and be overpowered. I will say that Gohan will probably not expect such a powerful opponent to come out and beat him in a straight up fight. But then again, he had to fight a few gauntlets to get there. Maybe he had to fight against Majin Vegeta, or he had to fight an even more powerful Majin Buu due to his strength being absorbed in the beginning, because Majin Buu was still locked, right? They did drain Gohan's energy. He then meets the Supreme Kai and have his full latent potentials unlocked and achieve ultimate mystic form, a combination of Super Saiyan, mystical magic from Piccolo, and his raw form of power that could not be achieved unless he trained a lifetime or kept on fighting someone more superior than him. This would be the impact that Gohan would have made. And then he will be able to protect Earth as one of the new leaders of the Z fighters. He will not be the first to throw a punch like Vegeta or be encouraged to fight like a battle maniac Goku like his dad. He'll be able to at least approach every aspect with an intellectual coolness that is able to deter forces of evil before they became serious. And even then, he can unleash his inner beast without waiting for Goku and Vegeta, which is probably the biggest one. Without spoiling too much of Dragon Ball Super, we know from Dragon Ball Z that Gohan marries Videl and has a daughter called Pan. Gohan is also a very reasonable father figure and realizes that he needs to fight and teach in order to protect his family. He knows that he is the best example to teach Pan, as she shares the mixed lineage just like him. Being a scientist, Gohan can collaborate with Bulma and come up with technology and theorizes the usage of his powers and turn into something new. Imagine a combination of Gohan's power, his intellect, and Bulma's ingenuity. They will be able to create an even better version of the hyperbolic chamber due to Bulma being able to create time machines. They can further analyze battle techniques to assist each other, like making use of techniques from Piccolo's gigantification, regeneration, and even Tien's extra arms and clones. Like, why are we not using that more? We will also note that while Goku and Vegeta keeps on leading at the front with the pursuit of strength, they will be intrigued enough to throw the gauntlet at Gohan for sparring purposes as well. Imagine Vegeta's expression of disgust and pride due to Gohan's power and his Saiyan lineage. And also Goku being overly proud, don't need to rely on everything, and definitely don't need to task the young Goten and Trunks to fight a Majin Buu like when they're little kids. Like, seriously, come on, that's terrible. I will also conclude this theory with the author Akira Toriyama had initially wanted Gohan to succeed Goku at one point. He ultimately decided against it, and I wouldn't blame him for it. Like, back then, it's huge, Dragon Ball was everywhere. I am still a huge fan of the stories of Dragon Ball, don't get me wrong, and it shall forever be one of my favorite animes of all time. It is GOAT. At this point of time, coming to the end of this Un-Nerfed Me series, I also do want to state, while that it is a little bit of a rushed story to explain the origins of Gohan and the Dragon Ball chapters, had I really go into it and explored it, this video would have taken way too long. And as excited as I am that I wanted to get into it, that will have to be unfortunate for the future. But if you guys do want me to do something like that and give you a full breakdown of Dragon Ball Z or even Dragon Ball, I'm more than happy. Make sure to leave some comments onto that, or Discord it to me, or let me know on Twitch. Any of those, I'll be just fine. But as more as that comes in, I have to say, at the end of the day, what we do love about Dragon Ball back in the days was because it was the best. It was the best manga that has ever released, and when Dragon Ball Z came out, we were in high school, at the end of high school, some boomers like myself, and we were already watching it like a fanatic. And we still, till this day, hold dearly to our heart. But the biggest thing is, if you started with Dragon Ball back in the day, went to Z, and then went to the end of Z, you were satisfied. Dragon Ball Super right now is the extra topping on that dessert that you never thought that you needed. So, yeah. What did you think of my Un-Nerfed Me theory? If you liked it, make sure to leave me a comment on what you thought. Thumbs up, sub, and of course, turn on that bell notification. It really helps me out, guys. It will, really just make my day. And of course, make sure to join me on Twitch and Discord to make some friends and let me know exactly what you think. And that's it for now, guys. Looks like I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Emperor ZK, out.